Hello, what's up? Hope y'all are having an awesome weekend out there. Enjoying this Sunday here in Mesa, Arizona. Temperature's about 75 degrees right now, and right now is the most beautiful weather in the country, at least here. Before that heat comes, and it's going to come fast. Anyways, the purpose of this video is because I wanted to talk a little bit about my art and about why why I do art. First off, I'm I was born an artist. I've been an artist my entire life. I've always been a weirdo. I've always had a weird vision that not everybody understands. And and with that, I just wanted to tell you the story of my journey a little bit. So I'm still used to making these kinds of videos. So I just want to be real with y'all, and I've been I was born on November 30th, 1982, on a Tuesday morning around 11 o'clock or so. That was also the moment I became an artist. And growing up, I was always told that I had learning disabilities. When I was in school, from pretty much preschool all the way up to 12th grade, I always had a teacher help me. And I always had a hard time focusing in a classroom full of kids, because a part of it's because I'm a little bit introverted. So whenever you're in a room and there's a lot of energy, uh, it's hard to focus because you're very sensitive to that. It's not that you have anything against anybody. It's just you get overwhelmed because you're sensitive. You get overwhelmed easily. So you need to go to a quiet place, or at least in a place where there's not too many people, so you can decompress. But anyways, so when sitting in the classrooms, my mind would daydream a lot, and I would pray that the teacher wouldn't call on me, which happened occasionally. But I got through it. And I remember the first piece of I always liked to play with crayons when I was a kid, as well as Hot Wheels and Matchboxes. And by the way, this is one of my favorite crayons. It's from Trader Joe's. It's called Well Bred, and it's it's organic, free of sulfite. It's been having it for 10 years. It's a dry red. I love it. And basically, when I was in preschool, the teacher, Miss Pam, had us sit around a desk. It was like a crescent-shaped desk. She sat in back of me, and three other kids sat around. And she had us all. She gave us each of us a piece of paper and some crayons, and had us draw something, just draw whatever. And I remember this teacher, a few of the kids drew. I don't remember what they drew. It was so long ago. She said, great job, great job, great job. And then I just basically took a blue crayon. I kind of made I just kind of went all around it, and just did something like that. And she kind of looked at it and goes, what kind of design is that? And I was like, you know, what the hell? So, but when I was in first grade, I drew a picture of my first car, because I always loved cars, especially classic cars. And all I did, and I remember exactly what it looked like. I just took I just drew some straight lines, sharp angles like this, and drew a couple circles as wheels. That's the first car I ever drew in first grade. So, and then over the next few years, I started getting into more stuff. I started getting into drawing. I got a little bit into sci-fi comics, kind of like Star Wars-ish. And this was in the early '90s, back when Star Wars just like distant memory by then. But I always loved Star Wars, just like a lot of us do today. So, and then the next phase of art I got into. My father had this military aviation book, and showed all they were like blueprints. It showed like the side and the top or bottom and the front of the aircraft, fighter planes, bombers, cargo planes. And I've always been an aviation geek as well. So what I would do is I would look at those designs in the book, and I would kind of tune them out a little bit, and I would kind of like incorporate them into my own design. So I started drawing pictures of early Cold War era jets from the late 40s and 50s, post-war planes. And then I started drawing pictures of B-52s, you know, and fighter jets, and it was just really cool. I just enjoyed it. And then eventually that kind of phased out. And then when I was in sixth grade, I was into a little bit into astronomy. At the time, I was into black holes and galaxies. So on the just one night, I just pulled out a couple of markers. All I had was like a black, yellow, and blue marker. I still have it. I have a picture of it on my Facebook. And I just drew a picture of a galaxy with a black hole in the middle of it. And you can see the two jets shooting out, like a quasar, basically. So, as time went on, as I grew up, I started to not. I started to. Uh, uh, Bear with me here, please. Uh, I started getting distracted from art. Although in the summer of '97, I was going from 8th into ninth grade. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't really hang out with a lot of people. So instead of sitting around bored, I decided to do something. I was also into semi trucks, especially the old trucks from back in the day, like the Smoking the Bandit Kenworth W900. So I had this picture book with all these semi trucks, and I started drawing pictures of those, just two dimensional, from the side and from the front. And I started using like a slide ruler, and I would take and I would use caps of bottles to make the wheels, so I get the perfect circle in. So fast forward, I started to not draw as much, and I got into writing. I love to write creatively. I'm not much of a singer, but I do love to write songs. And and then as I grew up more and went to college, life kind of got in the way, so that kind of more or less affected not affected, but took away, it took away my focus from my creativity. Because I'm just trying to focus on pay bills and, am I going to have a job tomorrow, and all that, and all that stuff. So, the last memorable moment I had of art when I was growing up was or last two I should say, it was in the fall of '98. I just got into 10th grade, and I was in in-house suspension because I don't know, I did something stupid, and in in-house suspension, I was in there with a few other kids, and we have all these restrictions about getting up, and if you don't bring anything with you to keep you busy, then you're screwed. You're just at the board throughout the whole day. Fortunately, I had a notebook and a pen, and I spent the entire day writing because I was pissed off about being there, and yes, it was my fault, but at the time I was writing about how I was going to take over the world and all that. And then the last time was in summer of 1999. For my young cousin, I drew a three-dimensional picture of some old Kenworth cab-over truck. I, gave it to him. I just decided to do it out of fun. But I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and when about 15 years ago, I was going to do web design, and looking back, I probably wouldn't go anywhere with it because I don't know, just where my mindset was at the time. But I wound up getting into, Zuri, that MLM thing, and I didn't get anywhere with that. But it also opened me up to running a business, and it took a long, long time since then, for me to build up my entrepreneurial mindset. And at the time, I was working a factory job, and then later on, I got into online MLM, and that didn't go anywhere. And I got my real estate license, and I got one transaction. So I got my parents their new build home, and then in 2018, my factory job shut down, where I worked out for 11 years, and then that catapulted me to full-time real estate. So, and as you know, the Phoenix market is a very, very competitive industry here for real estate agents. If you're trying to do like what I was doing, trying to do it all alone, it's like pound the pavement. Eventually, you'll probably get there, but it became emotionally taxing. And and even though I enjoyed it more than a factory work, as time went on, I didn't really enjoy it that much. Having to stay on top of market statistics and all that, and then you got to go out and try to get leads, and then you got to try to convert them and cultivate the relationships. And you're like, dude, my bills will pay next month. These people, are only thinking of maybe listing or buying in 6 months. So as time went on, eventually, and then COVID happened, and then the shutdowns and all that, and then as time went on, eventually, a couple years later, I had to go back to work. I had to go out and get a job again, something I didn't think I would ever have to do again. Now, before that happened, I wanted to get into new home construction, something that's still real estate related, but I heard a lot of good things about it. A lot of people that work in that business seem to enjoy it. They say it's easy work, there's a lot of money to be made in that. And I applied for all these builders. I created the best resume that you can probably imagine, and and if I was lucky enough to get a response, it was, oh, sorry, this position's been filled already. And then I started Googling on how do you get a job in a building. And then finally, you had to go through a temp agency that specializes in builders. You can go through Smart Staffing Solutions, which is what I did. There's a couple of others. So, and then that takes time. And it's, they don't pay a lot of money. It's part-time work. So I wound up taking a job at a Toyota dealership. I thought maybe I can take what I learned in real estate and apply it to that. I sold some cars, I sold some Toyotas, but I learned real quickly that it's not my cup of tea. This is not my cup of tea. I don't deal well with sales managers. I just, you're standing out in the lot waiting to take it up, and then you gotta, and then for me that just became, you gotta take it up, then you gotta talk to them, you gotta walk, which I have no problem with, but then you gotta walk towards the vehicles, and then your service manager's right there, ready to answer questions, and it's the kind of thing where they don't really train you, but they'll have you shadow somebody. So that was emotionally taxing, but nonetheless, I made some good friends in it. I'm still friends with a lot of those guys. In fact, the manager, when I left there, I left in good terms. So the manager there actually helped me get the job by putting him in reference to where I'm at now. But that's not important right now. Getting a little bit off topic. So after I left that job, I finally joined Smart Staffing Solutions, where I joined, which is if you want to get into that business, they're great to work with. I started working at the model homes and the new builds, and it takes time, and again, like I said before, it takes time. So back to when I was working at Toyota, I was standing outside one day. It was a real slow day. It was early, mid-afternoon, and things were real slow. When you're standing out there, all these thoughts drifted through your mind. And one of the things that came to my mind was, and I was getting realistic, I didn't have enough funds to renew the 2 annual dues, which are about a GP, which are about $1,000 a piece, which are about $1,000 together, for the MLS membership and all that yada yada. And I go, and I start wondering, where am I heading? Where am I going? I need some kind of direction. I need something I can be excited about. I feel that what I've invested and worked so hard for, it's becoming not my thing. So I turned to God, I need some of your help. I want to have some talent. I don't just want to sell. I don't want to just sell homes or sell cars. I want to create something. I want to have some talent. I want to build something, create something that people are going to connect with and that they're going to love. Because I never see myself as a salesman. I see myself, as an artist. It's the truth. So it was then, a second later, hey, I never really been into painting. I'm more of a drawing. I like to write. And I can understand, like, back in the 90s or before, it would have been a lot harder to do that as a living, but living the age that we live in now, we got the tools to help make that work. So, and I'm an emotional guy, and you can't mix emotions with business, but you can with art, if I'm not wrong. And I have a lot of emotions bottled up in me, so it's not that like I became an artist, but I realized that's what I am, that's who I am, and I decided to make this my life. I wanna I want to if this is what God intends me to do, this is what I live for, and this is what I shall, you know, I live to be an old man, of course, but this is what I want to go to the grave as someday. This is what I want to be known for. So I've been learning a lot, and still am. It's probably going to take a while before I really have this down with painting and all that, because I never really been into painting, but I have a lot of visions in my head that I want to put down into canvas. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of therapy. It's very therapeutic, very meditative. It's fun. You get to listen to music and drink wine while painting. And of course, I don't wear these clothes when I'm painting, but I do like to dress up like this. I've always had a fascination with the Prohibition era. I loved how people dressed back then. I like the, the white brim fedoras and bow ties, and of course, at some point, I'm gonna get a new vest to where the colors will match the hat and the pants I'm wearing. So, because this looks kind of like a wedding vest. But anyways, with all that said and done, one of the big differences I noticed in art compared to when I was doing real estate is a lot more people get excited about art, which gets me excited in turn. When I was in real estate, not a lot of people, when I would tell people, yeah, I'm a realtor, a lot of times people wouldn't get excited. People would be like, oh yeah, I know a realtor. Like, so what? Oh, you're one of those realtors, And that was taxing emotionally on me. And also with art, you get to be your true self. You get to be your true, pardon my French, be your true fucking self. So I'm not worried about where it's going to take me, because I feel like this is where I belong. But I'm actually excited about it. So with the support I've been getting, to all you guys out there, if you've been sticking around long enough to watch this video, hopefully I'm not boring the hell out of you. I just want to say thank you guys. I'm not doing this for me or just for me, but I'm doing this for us, because you guys are a part of this. We're in this together, and you guys that are supportive and that love my work and that are touched by it, you inspire me in turn. You just make me want to do it all the more. So I really feel like this is where I belong. This is where God wants me to be, and yeah. So stay tuned for what's coming. I'm working on a couple of works right now, which I'm about to do. Of course, I'm gonna get changed before I actually start painting. But yeah, I just want to say thank y'all. I love y'all, and to those who've been supporting me and who's been sending me love, I send y'all love. Cheers. Have a blessed, wonderful rest of your weekend, and stay tuned. Bye now.